You can turn the computer back on. It won't take that long.
Too late to upload it?
Nope.
Why you want to do it now?
Well, get it if you're gonna get it.
I don't know how to pull it. I don't even know where the chip is.
Mike knows how to do it.
Come on down.
He's got the same setup you do. I don't.
Computer's been on 6 fucking hours. Turn it off.
I don't feel the Arctic freeze.
Nah, not bad out.
All right, how do we get this thing out?
I don't know.
Mikey, he's getting his technical tools,
Pliers.
gizmos.
I know it looks like a little tooth.
It's a little flash card or something in there, no?
Yeah.
Does that have a camera? Why not?
No, it doesn't.
Does the key have to be on?
No, shouldn't be. Does it have to be powered up to pop up? No, it shouldn't have to do that. It should be like a camera. Camera will pop out anytime.
I feel it.
There we go. That'll shed some light on the subject.
I wonder where that came from.
There's the hot tools box.
Give me your key.
Oh.
There it is. It is a little micro. That means you could change those.
Yeah.
And if you want to save footage, just get another one, stick it in there. They're not that expensive. Probably comes with like a 4 gig card or something. I didn't get one at 32 or 64 or 132. 16 gig is all they give you?
Yeah, but it only uses 1%. It doesn't even use the full 16 gig.
Why not?
I don't know.
Maybe you gotta reset it or something.
When did this happen? What time?
Saturday.
Today, huh?
No, not Saturday. Friday.
Friday?
I'm trying to think. Friday night.
Oh, today's Saturday.
Friday night. Lights were on. So maybe Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. this is all mush and it's all erased and. So how do you find the date and the time?
It'll be on.
What's he all over there hiding for?
Oh, where?
Panther.
I don't know. He wants to go to bed, that's all it is. He says, why you guys bothering me this hour in the morning?
Yeah, it kind of ran when we all came back up the stairs. What did you just plug in the laptop?
Yeah, you just stuck it in the card reader.
No. I'd say about 5:36. Once it get dark.
Yeah, about that, I
Yeah,
guess.
about that. Yeah, it was like it was dark enough to have my headlights on, but or just dark enough. Although it just like continuously rolls over and.
Doesn't want to read it?
Yeah, it's gone now. It's just because it's slow because it's worn out.
Oh,
Oh, sounds like a vacuum.
Again,
there it goes.
What do you type in?
3.7. What time?
About 4:35. Well, I was at Heritage Hills for like.
It jumps from 1400 to 1900.
Till 1900. That's the one then. 'Cause, yeah. 2 o'clock. I went over right then.
Where's this?
Oh, that's Heritage Hills, right? So I'm leaving. I'm getting ready to leave there. So I went from Heritage Hills to that way. You know, through somewheres, you know. And where am I? Where am I? Bet you I'm going around the reservoir. It's on that side, maybe. Yeah, I'm going around the reservoir, so we're coming up on it pretty close now. Well, we gotta get to the red light. At the end of
so
the...
much for about
What?
5 o'clock when it's getting dark.
Yeah.
What the... All right, I was guessing. All right, maybe it was closer to, you know... Flying up the hill.
I didn't even fucking see that, did you? Picture's too small.
You're flying up. Boom, come on up.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Oh,
And it
shit.
doesn't go across there either.
Well, just
I think
the-
there's a driveway there. But that was close.
All right, that was it. All right,
Not
well...
quite as good as we expected.
No, that didn't look like
It looked like
I was
barely
bidding a
tapped your
6-car
brakes.
accident over here, you know, and I wasn't
Well,
expecting.
shit, you know.
I don't know if you even touched your brakes on that one. Oh, you had to turn the wheel a little bit. I'll give him that.
Well, that was a little bit of a sobering eye opener.
I didn't see.
Well, I mean, you know, it's
See, you got. Yeah, it goes from yesterday at 1:45 a.m.
jerk off, motherfucker. What the hell, you know?
We're Sky at 1:45 in the morning. Where was Sky at 1:45 in the morning?
Again, out with the chip. Let's go.
Now, let's see where he was, Mikey.
Looks like he's going home. You're going home at 1:45 in the
Well,
morning.
come on, let's go.
Let's see where else he's been, Michael. You
That's
got
what I
that in
don't
there.
want. Come on,
Well,
Adam,
let's see where else he's been.
Wait,
There we
Oh,
go.
I downloaded it already, so I'll have to look at it later.
Yeah.
Card back. You can't put it like that back in your fucking thing.
All that.
Well, it was intense. The fucking asshole just.
So, what secret places were you going, Scott, that you don't want us to see?
I don't know, I'll just have to check the GPS tracker later, that's all. I'll just have to switch this one for mine. Do the old switcheroo, Scott never even know. Man.
Well, there was a kid or an old person or what the fuck? Good thing I wasn't going just a little bit faster. The car would have been toast.
Good thing you weren't in a hungry hurry, I guess.
Well, then I would have passed it. He would have been behind me. Yeah, like I said, just a couple more, a second or two. Yeah, just come on up from, what was it, Overhill or Overlook Road, whatever. Come flying on up. Don't bother stopping.
Now we know better than to bitch and say we want to see the video.
Yeah, well, I was fucked up enough for me. I almost got the old last fucking.
Alrighty, boys.
All right, Mike.
It's fucking chilly out here and I've woken up.
Till next week. And the
I'm
next.
gonna get my hour sleep that I'm losing.
Good night, Mike.
It was a lot more intense if you're in the car.
Could have just uploaded it by Bluetooth anyway. These things, they broadcast right to the internet.
Tell you this though, once he got straightened out, he didn't get nowhere near behind me. And not the usual 2 feet. He stayed behind some kid or something texting or something.
Yeah, probably not paying attention.
Oh, Jim, at the top of the hill, there's a T in the road. I will only jam my fucking brakes on from doing 100 miles an hour. Fuck, flying up out of there. He was easily doing 35, 40.
We're
Easily.
gonna just drunk.
Too bad a cop wasn't right there.
They never are.
One out of a million of these fucking things I see every day and night. I see the one cop gets the one person out of like a million of these. Ugh. Well, we got the asshole kid behind me, though. Oh, now mine is so much why 2 inches from my bumper. So I was like, all right. I know there's a guy, if he wasn't at the top of the reservoir, and he was down there somewhere, so well, let him get him.
Yeah.
And he did. So it's almost midnight, so it's really 2 in the, so it's really 1 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least it's warming up.
Yeah, a little bit. Start melting some of this shit. Won't be slipping and sliding underfoot all the time.
Well, it melts during the day and then freezes at night.
Oh, I know. I'll be slicker than snot when I get home.
So we all gotta place our bets for the dry cleaning job.
Oh, if she even gets it. I don't think she'll even get it. That's too much like work.
I say if she gets it, a day or two.
Yeah, about
That's if she gets it.
that'll be about it. It's not a sit-down job, so.
Oh, if I bring my dry cleaning down there, I'll have to bring pennies.
There you go.
Money is money.
What you gotta do is go to the Goodwill store, get a suit that's 2 sizes too small for you, bring it down there to get it dry cleaned, then go get it, try it on when you're right there. Look at this, you shrank it. Scream at her, but look, she shrank the suit, look at this, ruined it. Teresa, you're fired.
Yeah, that, an $800 suit. Well, I don't think I'll have to do that.
No, she usually gets herself fired anyways, it doesn't matter.
Well, at least there's some hope of a job to
Oh,
get
yeah.
fired from.
Yeah, that's true. And she's already got a job in her fake life, so.
And it's costing money to buy fake money.
Yeah, to buy fake cats in a fake world. And apparently somebody in the fake world gave her a fake laptop. So she can watch fake internet on the internet in the fake world. So I said, what do? You go onto the fake world, onto your fake laptop to watch fake porn? What is it, you know?
I don't know, just tear all these buildings down and make a nice, you know.
Too expensive. And it doesn't have that old world charm. That stately, you know, presence of age and dignity. This way the university can say we are a long-standing institution.
Yeah.
Look at our buildings.
Which is true. It is.
True. Yeah.
Just water torture and electro.
Yeah, we just want to tell them about the mental institution part. Bones of the buildings are probably still good. Everything else has to be ripped out and replaced and painted over, but At least you have the solid, the basic walls and floors
You
and
gotta sandblast all the asbestos out of there before they do that.
lead paint. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't paint over that. You gotta sandblast it.
Oh, you cannot sandblast asbestos.
No, the paint.
No, the paint you can. Well,
Yeah, they suck it out with.
yeah, that's special equipment
Yeah.
for that.
It looks like.
Fortunately, most of it seems to have peeled off the walls anyway, so,
Well, it looks like the movie E.T. where they got the whole building covered in plastic.
Yeah.
That's what they do, and they go in spacesuits and they, blast everything and.
What they're really going to do is seal off the tunnels. Since they're of no use anymore anyway, because they don't use that massive steam plant all the way over there. They'll seal the tunnels off, and then they'll seal up the asbestos in it. But those tunnels are loaded with asbestos because that's where all the pipes are. I have that straight from an old maintenance man who used to work there.
Oh yeah. A handful of Navy ships in the 90s had asbestos.
Oh yeah, especially the older ones, I'm sure.
Independence had it.
Yeah.
But that was the exception of a ship that age, though. There was nothing floating around from the early 60s except that.
Yeah.
And it was decommissioned in 98. Well, the other ones were long gone. Long gone.
What do they do with it?
Still sitting in Bremerton, last I heard.
They'll make a reef out of it eventually, I guess.
That's a dirty, nasty old boat. I can't see that one becoming a museum.
Not a museum, a reef. They'll
That's what I mean, yeah.
gut it, sink it. Yeah.
That's all that boat's good for.
Or do it like the Russians did and use it to block a harbor somewhere. Think the Russians cleaned up that boat before they sank it?
Probably
In
not.
2 days? Probably not, is right. So now the Black Sea is getting all polluted with oil and grease and sewage and whatever was on that old piece of shit that they sank.
Like that little news clip of all the aircraft carriers in.
Yeah. The fuck's that all about?
Called up a friend of mine, and I know where the Enterprise is. Newport News has it, but there's nothing else over there. Everything else apparently is over, except for the Lincoln that's supposed to be over there for a refuel. Odd numbers to the west coast, even numbers, or the other way around. Even numbers to the west, odd numbers here. So 69, 71, with the exception of 73, that's Washington, that's in Japan. And then 72 came over for a refuel.
Well, that's a big operation on a fucking nuclear vessel, no?
It's in there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And they do them by number. Because, the Roosevelt just came out of its refuel, so now 72 is next. That's why it came over from the west coast. About every 25, 30 years, 20 years,
Yeah.
do a refuel. You got a regular shipyard where they do regular rip out, like, ripping out wires, air ducting, berthings. That's like, they chip up tile, sandblast paint, pull out the fucking screws. They do a lot of big shit.
Yeah.
But then when you get the nuclear, that's like even a bigger. It's like they gut it. That's like graveyard cars, basically. They shut the reactor off. Flight deck is like literally lifted off of it. Big
Well,
hole.
they have to pull the actual reactor out, don't they?
Don't know.
I think they do. I read that somewhere.
Well, maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then the whole hangar bay is like completely like a hole.
Yeah.
There is no hangar. It's a hole. The flight deck is almost a hole. It's like a giant hole up in there. So then in the meantime, everything else really gets ripped out.
So if somebody wanted to hit us, they'd get 5 carriers all at once.
It's bad enough when you're in the regular shipyards. That's bad enough.
Yeah.
But that's like it's like a hellhole in there. But I was on the Ike for a refuel. 2002. Nasty. Nasty up in there. It's nasty in there. Looks like they're actually rebuilding the ship, which is what they're doing. Everything's all ripped, but things you'd never see in a million years ripped apart on that thing.
Well, they probably take the opportunity to modernize a few things here.
Oh, big time. Well, they do that every 2 years anyway.
Right.
Every 18 months. It'll go in for, you know, they get computer updates. You know, a lot of like it's about a 40% facelift. When you go in for the nuclear refuel, then the whole fucking, it's like graveyard cars. The whole thing comes apart. I mean, they just about leave the island on. All the antennas are stripped. Everything's all, you know. That's how they do it. It ain't pretty. Got to wear your helmet and goggles. Hard enough to walk around, and on top of that, there's no lights, so it's all string lights and drop lights. So it's just like you're hunched over more than you already are. That's it.
Well, you wonder how much more time the aircraft carriers have.
It's the first place he's going.
No, I don't mean because somebody's going to scrap them. I mean when technology finally overcomes the need for them and something else takes their place. I mean the next generation of fighting vessel, whatever it might be. Right now we use an aircraft carrier to project air power, but what if air power didn't need to be projected from one place but it can come from anywhere? Like this whole space plane concept, where you would go up to orbit and simply go up and down and you're wherever you want to be in the world. That's the next step, I guess. That way you don't have to have something stationed in the Persian Gulf to attack there. You could be in Florida. You could be in California. You could Oregon. Hawaii. Doesn't make a difference. Just take off, go up, go down. That's a concept that goes back almost 65, 70 years. The Nazis first thought of it. And I guess they're getting closer and closer to that kind of technology.
Dock them and make them museums. They'll do.
Yeah, eventually. That's if we get the opportunity for another generation of weapons. The way things are going in the world today, who the fuck knows?
Wonder where this cop is hiding around here.
I don't know.
I'm looking now. A new hiding spot.
I had a question from a guy today. He wants to buy something on no shipping from Kiev, Ukraine.
Oh, that's a nice quiet place these days.
Oh yeah. So I said I'd be glad to ship it to you, but I can't be responsible if world events block the transshipment of this into your country or it disappears or whatever. Yeah. That's totally out of my control. I hear something's going on there.
His reply?
He says he understands. He says right now there's Russian soldiers in his country and there's going to be a war. That's what he said. There's going to be a war. So I don't know what he knows that I don't, but he is there and I am here. So I guess the situation's ratcheting up. I don't know what the hell's going on.
What's the latest over there?
Russian soldiers are on the ground in Crimea. They're blocking various Ukrainian military installations, demanding their surrender, and they're refusing to surrender. And the country, Ukraine, is calling up its reserves. It's, a lot of shit going on. Barack Obama's mouthing words. The fucking European Union's spouting off. Congress just voted for a fucking big aid package to Ukraine. Putin's not backing down. There's no way he can't now. He can't. He's committed now. His parliament's giving him carte blanche. The Russian people are, go ahead, And he said too many things. And I don't know if the Ukrainians going to blink this time. They may decide to go down shooting. And then, what's our involvement in this? There's a very limited amount we can do militarily because we're talking about a nuclear power here. Do we really want to get involved in a nuclear confrontation with the Russians over the Ukrainians? Because that's what it would end up as eventually, as it escalates. We cannot commit troops. We cannot commit air power. We can send them money. Yeah, okay, we can do that. And there's talk about putting missiles in Poland. We're not going to put missiles in Poland. We put missiles in Greece, and Turkey rather, and that's what caused the Cuban Missile Crisis. Because the Soviets retaliated by putting missiles in fucking Cuba. We took our missiles out of Turkey, they took their missiles out of Cuba. They're not going to tolerate...
that's a big one.
Yeah. They're not going to tolerate American nuclear missiles in Poland. That close to their border. They're not going to tolerate that. They'll do something about it. So it would be really stupid to start doing that shit. And we don't need them there anyway. If we want to nuke the Russians, that's easy enough to do from sea, from air, and from right here in the USA. There's no lack of ways we can use to nuke the Russians if that's what we wanted to do.
Whose side would we be on?
In what?
This thing.
You know what? I don't know, because there really are no good sides here. The Russians, yes, they're violating international law. They are invading a neighboring country without real provocation, because they have leases on the Sevastopol naval base and other naval institutions in Crimea. The Ukrainians were not threatening those leases. They weren't throwing them out. They weren't saying we want you to go. You know, so they did not have to get involved in Ukrainian politics or invade the country. On the other hand, this is historically a Russian bastion area there. You know, culturally, language, everything like that. Russians live there. But in 1955, Nikita Khrushchev made it part of Ukraine, the Ukrainian Republic. And when the Ukrainian Republic became independent from Russia, well, that was in their borders. It became part of their country. And now you have the Ukrainian nationalists who, during World War II, sided with the fucking Nazis. You know, so there's no, wonder children there either that we should really be thrilled about. They don't have a particularly good track record, so who the hell knows? And as far as I'm aware, they're not threatening Russians in Ukraine.
Is that a cop with a little bright on with the light?
I don't know. Where?
There. There it is.
In back of you? In front of you?
No, that.
Oh, I wasn't looking.
Yeah. Got the big old floodlight on. And here we are at Mike's favorite bump.
So I don't know what the hell's going to happen over there. We really don't have a side in this. You know? The best thing we can do is stay the hell out of it. Let the Europeans handle it for a fucking change. This is something that really affects them more immediately than it does us. If Russians decide on territorial expansion, they're the ones that got to worry more than we do.
No, all Obama wants to do is
Because there's
target
nothing,
the military.
yeah.
That's all he wants to do.
There's nothing we actually really can do that would not get us involved in an actual war with Russia, which is world ending. That doesn't happen. Not between two nuclear powers.
So he gonna go over there, like,
No.
talk to him?
Oh, he may do that? Oh, he already sent John Kerry over to talk. That a lot of good that did.
Yep.
You know, he promised money, and he sanctions against the Russians, all this other shit, freezing assets here and there, whatever the fuck he's gonna do.
How come you don't go over there?
Who? Oh, he's not going over there.
Why?
A sitting American president through a war zone that we're not involved in? That's not going to happen. Especially not him.
What would Reagan do?
It's pretty much the same thing. It would be covert. Our aid would be covert like it was when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. That was on Reagan's watch. And Reagan allowed covert aid to flow to the Mujahideen, which bit us on the ass later, but at the time it was against the Soviets and it worked. Plenty of covert aid was going over there, but we were not putting American boots on the ground, except for a few CIA agents here and there as observers in disguise. But we were not committing troops to that. American troops were not fighting Russian troops on Afghani soil. And American troops are not going to fight Russian troops on Ukrainian soil either. But we may assist the Ukrainians to help themselves.
What's he saying about all this?
Obama is condemning it. It's territorial expansion, illegal, territorial expansion. It's like we saw in World War II, it can't be allowed, which is all true. Nobody says it's not true, but really there's not much you can do. And Russians voted to recall their ambassador. So far, the Russians have been behaving, for the most part. But now we're starting to see Russian troops on the ground with insignia on their uniforms. There was a deadline that came and went a few days ago for the Ukrainians to give up their bases over there and send their soldiers out and surrender. They didn't surrender. Nothing happened. And I don't think Putin wants anything to happen just yet, because he knows that once the shooting actually starts, that's a genie out of the bottle you can't put back in. Because then that galvanizes the whole country of Ukraine to attack. And it would be a war. A war that he would not look good in on the world stage. You know, he's going to be accused of being a Hitler, a fascist, you know, a Stalinite, every other damn thing, because here is big Russia attacking their little neighbor, overrunning them, everything else. There'll be scenes of death and devastation all over the fucking news around the world. Massive economic sanctions against Russia. And it is possible maybe Ukraine has a nuke or two stashed away. The Soviets were not particularly careful about their thousands and thousands of nuclear devices. I'm sure a few of them have drifted off somewhere, and Ukraine was supposed to have returned them all in 1992, but they probably kept wanting to. I would have. A few small ones that won't be missed so easily. Problem with those kinds of wars, though, shit gets out of hand. Accidents happen. The wrong people get fired on. The missile goes awry somewhere. Somebody who shouldn't be bombed got bombed. Then we're involved. Other European nations are involved. It turns into a widespread conflict that spreads all over the fucking place. And before you know it, it's gotten out of hand to the point where nuclear weapons are fired. And then where does that stop? You know? Who gets nuked? How many times does the world survive that? And while all that shit's going on, does somebody else get bold? Let's take advantage of the Americans' distraction to hit them on the DMZ. Or, you know, let's hit Israel while the Americans aren't looking, that kind of thing. Which would be suicidally stupid, but you know, that's how some nations think. Now they're saying that the Russians might have been behind the whole political unrest situation in Ukraine right from the start. They were trying to make it happen, spark a revolution, so they had an excuse, you know, to say, well, unstable government, we're going in to protect our interests, it's all this shit. 60% of that area is ethnically Russian. They speak Russian, they are Russian. What about the other 40%? What are they going to do, pack up all their belongings and leave, go west? Or are they going to fight? Well, most likely, knowing the history of that region, is going to be fighting. I don't think they're just going to lay down. Sooner or later, some trigger-happy squad leader somewhere is going to give the wrong order, or someone's going to fire a shot. We know it. 800-900 shots have been fired. There's dead bodies on the ground, and that's it. It's off to the races. Because right now, you see the Russians don't even have magazines in their weapons. I guess they have orders to not to be locked and loaded. I'm sure the loaded magazines are in their, you know, their ammo packet carriers and shit, but not in the weapons. But that only takes a second to snap a magazine in an AK. So.
Is there such thing as the low numbers AK?
I'm sure there is. We'll never know about it, but I'm sure they exist. The Russians have a history of scrambling numbers on their weapons to deny an enemy, you know, any kind of knowledge on weapons production and totals month by month by finding some weapons on the battlefield and putting numbers together. Oh, look, here's one that's 300,000. Okay, we know they have 300,000 AKs. Here's 600,000. No, it doesn't work that way. The Russians might start a production number at 1,000, go to 2,000, drop to 500, and go to 8, then let it go to 3,000. You know, that kind of shit. Here in the U.S., we didn't do that shit. We didn't care. You know, hey, we made 6 million M1 Garands. Okay, you can know that if you want. 6 million of them, and I'm going to shoot you with all of them. You know, so fuck you. But the Russians, they're very secretive about that kind of shit. They don't talk about any with arms productions. So you can find a Russian AK and read the serial number on it, but it's not going to tell you shit.
So what do I tell that lady over in Heritage Hills? Just
keep it hidden. Use her head. Don't do anything stupid. You know, don't talk about it. Keep it hidden away. and think real hard on who your most responsible relative is, who you could trust with this, who won't do something stupid, like turn it over to the police for destruction, or or walk around with it in their pocket or some dumb shit like that. And that's who you find the relative, no matter who it is, but as long as the relative knows how to handle it. Preferably if they don't live in this fucking state.
How come she can't register the gun?
Because it's not already on the list of registered weapons in New York State. It's not licensed. According to New York State's weapons database, it doesn't exist. So first, she has to get a handgun license. Go through all that process. And once she has it, then she has to go to a gun store and buy a firearm that's legally on the books. And the only way she can buy that one is, like I said, send it to a friend in Vermont. That friend in Vermont takes it to a dealer in Vermont, who then sells it to a dealer in New York. So now it's in the books. And the dealer in New York transfers it, sells it to your friend over there, and now it's legally hers. She's licensed and everything else. Long, involved, complicated process. But you cannot legally put that pistol on your license in New York State because technically it does not exist. It's an illegal firearm in this state.
So it's 1931, 1932?
Yeah, early 31, early 32. Late 31, early 30. Probably late 31. .1903 Colt pocket model.
It's in beautiful shape.
Probably is. A lot of them just didn't get used. They were bought for protection in the house and kept that in there.
She just said she wants to leave it in the family, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
she just has to find someone in the family with the brains to know what to do with it. And she gives it to the wrong person, they're going to do something stupid with it. They get caught with it. They'll try to license it, not understand they can't do that.
Well, thank you very much. We'll take that.
Yeah, that's exactly what'll happen. And you might go to jail.
Yeah.
And they don't have much of a sense of humor in New York about that kind of shit.
Unless it's 1898.
No, yes, or something very, very old, an ancient antique. In New York State says their laws are a little different with handguns. It has to be a handgun that's either a cap and ball style that you can't load a cartridge into, or a cartridge for it is no longer a production. And it's from the 19th century. Then it's a true antique. And you don't need a license for that. But Pocket 1903, you do need a license for. That's definitely on the list of licensed weapons. It's technically a modern gun. It was made into the 1940s.
So that's not even close. That's
Yeah.
it's not even.
You
close.
saw one in Boardwalk Empire, remember? Jimmy Darmody had one, and so did Richard Harrow.
Oh yeah.
He even mentioned it once in the scene where they first meet, and they're in the bar talking about hookers and guns. Right after they leave the fucking VA hospital there, and they start talking about he mentioned that Jimmy has a gun on him, and they start talking guns, and Harold says about a few guns he has, and Jimmy goes, a Colt model 1903, and Richard, that's a good one for killing man. Yep, exactly what it's good for, he says.
And then it was that one.
Yeah,
Where could you buy that gun at?
gun broker, gun stores, gun shows, they're around.
No, I mean back then.
Well, back then you went to a gun store and bought it. Hardware store, anywhere like that. Sears, you called Colt. There were lots of ways you could buy it if you wanted one. And not in New York State so much. Jersey probably had different laws. Actually, in the 20s you could. I'm trying to remember when does the Sullivan Act start? No, our Sullivan Act starts in 1911. After 1911, handguns had to be licensed in New York.
What about California? I think that's where the gun came from.
Yeah, that totally different setup. Totally different. Today their laws are very strict. Back then they probably weren't. Does she still have family back in California?
No.
Good, because I'll send it there.
This can be dangerous at night. This is nice up.
Oh yeah, it has. Still a lot of salt on the roads because it really hasn't rained, so not too bad. Tonight's not that cold either, so.
Wow, I'm sorry the video was disappointing. I thought it was
Alrighty, I guess till next week at the next installment. Oh. Okay, let's put this baby to bed.